Thank you very much, Elas Corla. I'm rather amazed at all the noise that the opposition deputies have demonstrated outside this chamber, that none of them, bar the exception of the honourable member from Limerick, has come into this chamber here today. So I propose, with your agreement, Elas Corla, to address the audience in the gallery rather than the non-audience in the chamber, and to say to all of the young, well, not so young, school-going population who are perhaps somewhere between second year and third year, what I'm going to do over the next 4 or 5 years and what's going to be changed for you and your brothers and sisters who are coming behind you. First and foremost, the days of doing 12 subject exams in the junior cert is over. We're going to bring it down to 8 subjects. We're going to change it from the system where it's a mini-mac of the leaving certificate into a much more different grade, so that when you do get your junior certificate and somebody asks you, how did you do in your junior cert, you won't say, well, I got so many points. You'll say what grades you got. We're going to learn how to teach ourselves differently, and we're going to learn not what to remember, but how to think. You're going to be tested on your ability to think as young adults, not and as young automatons, what you've remembered. The second thing I want to say in relation to the junior cert, which will affect exams starting from 2017, and you will have gone on, I suspect, from that period in time, but from 2017, a terminal exam at junior certificate level, and in fact the name will not be the junior cert. I've asked Leanne Caulfield, the president of the Irish Secondary Students' Union, to come forward with a new name for a new exam, because this exam is going to be different in this way. At the present moment, as you know, you have a terminal exam at the end of third year, and 100% of the marks goes to that exam. That's now going to change. 60% of the marks will go to that exam, and 40% will be based on portfolio work that you will have done from the beginning of second year right through to Christmas or thereabouts in third year. And that will be filed electronically and will be assessed electronically. You'll be pushing it up into the clouds wherever you happen to be at school, and it will be assessed in real time by people who will be able to assess it. Maybe people who are involved teaching in another part of the country who will have no notion of who you are, but will be able to assess your work. The second thing I want to do is to look at how we can maximise our experience of transition year, which is considered by most people as a very good experience, but it varies from school to school. And again, I will be talking to students and to teachers about what you think could be better in transition year. When you get to sixth year, and when you're doing your leaving certificate examination, the way in which the point system distorts the way in which you do your leaving cert and the way in which your teachers have to teach you is also going to be changed. The predictability of exam subjects is going to be totally changed. Next June, when you read the newspaper results about how was the junior cert or how was the leaving cert, you will not see stories, or next June, 12 months I should say, you will not see stories that it was a good exam. There were no surprises. It was as predicted. Now, you're teachers, and you know what that means. It means that from the very beginning, they say, well, Heaney's going to come up as the poet this year, or the French Revolution is going to come up as the major subject this year. So we're going to disregard the entire rest of the syllabus, and we're going to train you like talking and remembering monkeys to write down the answer that you can learn off so that you get the right marks and the right grades for the French Revolution or for Seamus Heaney or whoever. That's not education, that's memory training, and it's going to finish under this government. We're going to say to the universities, stop manipulating the point system which they own. You know, when I became minister for first, I thought that the point system was part and parcel of the state examination system. It's not. It's a private company. The CAO is a private company owned by the 7 universities. They allow the other institutions to come in, and they take the A and A1 and B and B1 and C grading of the leaving certificate, and they put mathematical values on every 5 percentile grade in that examination, and they come up with the point system. And since the point system was introduced back in the 1990s, from 1999, the number of course options that you or your older sisters will be looking at in February when you go to fill out the forms has increased 300%. So you get, for example, instead of German or doing law, you're getting German and law, or law and French, or law and Sanskrit. And they don't tell you, and they're obliged by law to tell you, how many spaces there are in the different courses. What they are doing is actually competing for the brightest of you in terms of points, so they can turn around and say, well, in our college or in our university, to get into this course you need 510 points, or nearly 550 or 400. We're going to make the universities, because your parents' taxpayers' money is actually funding them, we're going to make the university say, end this nonsense. And they did it in Australia. The University of Melbourne said a 17 or an 18-year-old person in February cannot decide what detailed course they want to do when they're going into third level. In fact, less than 15% of people, and your guidance counsellors will probably tell you this, less than 15% of students who put a lot of effort into this know exactly what it is they want to be at that point in time and what it is they want to study. And what Melbourne have done is they've gone back to basics and they've said, let's have 7 or 8 foundation courses. Let's have a science foundation course. Let's have an arts foundation course. Let's have a language foundation course. Let's have a science, medical, biology foundation course. Or indeed the course that's around the corner from here at the UCD School of Engineering, where you don't know whether you want to be a structural engineer or a mechanical engineer or a hydraulic engineer or whatever, but what you do know is you would like to be an engineer. So your foundation course in first year is engineering, simply engineering. And at the end of that, when you're 19, and there's a hell of a difference in terms of maturity between 17 and 19 when you're in that third level sector, then you can decide, what do I really want to do? Or what's the path I would like to explore? Now, we have to regain the third level education system because we have a very good primary school system and we have a very good infrastructure in third level. Of the 15,000 universities that exist in this world, the 7 universities on this small island and in this small state with 4.5 million people, our 7 universities are in the top 300. Top 300. Now, we need to maximise the value that they have by ensuring that people like yourselves in the gallery, when you go through the Leaving Certificate, you are taught how to think and to reason and to rationale and to argue for yourselves, not how much you can remember in a 2-hour exam after 2 years of study. And then to make a rational choice, am I scientific, am I mathematical, am I good with people, or am I good with numbers, am I good at making things with my hands, and choose the course that makes sense. And when you've done that, then to go into whatever course it happens to be, and after a year of reflection, in terms of who you are and what you are at the age of 19 or 20, and it's a very different person than the age of 16 or 17, decide, well, I want to go in that direction. They are the changes that this government are going to make in our education system over the next 4 years. And the budgetary measures that I have introduced in the last couple of weeks and that were enacted yesterday and which will be carried through will enable me to ensure that the basic building block of learning to read and write in our school system will be reinforced. It's a truism to say, but we go to school to learn to read so that we can read to learn. And if you don't know at age 10 or 11 how well to read, and you know them yourselves, you've sat beside them, people who go from 6th class into first year and who are finding it difficult to keep up with the learning process because their reading ability is not as good as it could be, they're the ones who start to head towards the departure lounge after the junior cert. The new money for literacy and numeracy will ensure that that deficiency in our education system is going to be reduced. So, last Councillor, I want, before I hand over to my colleague, Minister of State Kieran Cannon, say to this House, now that we have 2 opposition deputies in this chamber. Yeah, exactly. It just demonstrates the sincerity of your interest in parliamentary debates that I'm addressing citizens rather than parliamentarians. I'm talking about the other side. I just want to say, Alas Councillor, I'm very proud to be a part of this government. I'm proud that we've put a budget through, that we've been able to find savings within a very difficult period of time, where we've also found reductions in the totality, that I've allocated additional resources in the areas where it is important. This country needs to transform its economy. The only way we will transform our economy is to transform the next generation of young people coming into the labour market, and I'm proud to be in a position to help to do that.